Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Believe it or not, we are on episode 34 of Saved You a Seat. I am Leslie Wyatt. I am the Director of Compliance at SoftPro. And today we are going to be talking about SoftPro features you just didn't even know you needed. Believe it or not, there's quite a lot of offerings within the software that a lot of people don't know about and maybe aren't utilizing. So we thought it might be fun to kind of have a session to highlight some of those things so that people can get more use out of their software. So as usual, just a few housekeeping items. One, we obviously will be recording this as always, and we will send out a follow-up email with a link to the recording. So those of you that maybe want to share it within your organization or use any of these for training, please do so. We encourage it. We also encourage questions. So you should have a question feature box that you can type them in throughout the webinar. Marcia is going to be doing our webinar today. She's amazing, and I'm going to introduce her in a second, but we are very informal, both Marcia and I, so I feel pretty comfortable interrupting her. So we'll try and get to as many questions that you have. But if by chance we don't get to your question, we will reach out to you post the webinar, or we'll include it in the follow-up. So please don't worry if for some reason we don't get to it. So with that said, I'm just going to let you know you are in good hands, much better than if I was doing this. Marcia has been with SoftPro for a very long time. She's worn many, many hats, and she's amazing. She has worked as a trainer. She has worked within the sales department. She does all their demos because she knows the software so well. So I like to call her a little bit of a SoftPro extraordinaire. So we're very fortunate that she was able to squeeze us in today. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Marcia, and let you go ahead and spread your information.
Thank you so much, Leslie. I appreciate it. And good morning to everybody. So let's see what we're going to talk about that you did not even know existed. So let's starting off with making sure everything's going to work right. There we go. So hyperlinking, annotation. We have a calendar that we're going to kind of briefly talk about, and something we refer to as blacklist, Power BI. And then many of you probably know about the Patriot search integration that we have through 360, but we're going to talk a little bit about how you can automate that also. And then something called Endorsement Helper. So those are some of the topics. And then we will also at the end just briefly touch on, again, being able to update documents when states have some changes in underwriting regulations and stuff, and we'll talk about where you're going to be able to find that information also. So why don't we go ahead and get started? I think we're going to start with annotations. So now let me make sure we can jump around without much problems. So also, I know on these meetings that we have people that use all of our different programs. We probably have some people on this call that are on our standard or enterprise program, and then those that are on our select program. And then with select, we may have some people on the call that are on our hosted program, where we are dealing with hosting the program itself, dealing with the backups. And then I'm sure there are some of you that have SoftPro Select installed right on your server. When we talk about some of these different features, most of these features are going to be available in Select over the standard program. And then when we do talk about the Power BI, that is going to be for anyone that has Select installed on their server. So do keep that in mind, and I will kind of try and remind you about this as we're going through some of these screens as to which programs you can utilize these features. And just like Leslie said, if you have questions, please, put it in the chat box so that we can answer those questions as you're thinking about them. So we're going to first talk about annotation. And again, annotation is only going to be available in the Select program, whether we host it or you have it on your own server. And with the annotation, when you publish documents into the attachment screen, you have the ability on any document, if you go, there is a little icon in the attachment screen referred to as Annotate. Or if you right click on any document in here, you will see that Annotate area. And in here is where you're going to be able to add sticky notes to a document or documents. Maybe you're going to want to highlight documents before sending them out. You even can add text. So if you had some additional text that you wanted to add to a document, you'll be able to do that. Of course, there's arrows, and then you can also create stamps. So maybe you're doing a mail away out to somebody and you want to be able to put, hey, initial here, sign here. So you can get your documents all marked up, and then when you go to send them out and email them, the customer or the receiving party will see these annotations on these documents. Now, one question that typically comes up is, okay, well, what happens when they print? If they print the documents, is the annotations going to be there? So what we encourage you to do is set up, kind of copy the package that you're going to send out. And you can do that also right from here. You do have an icon up here that says copy. So you can send them one package that has the annotations in it, and then the other package without annotations. And in the instructions in your email, you can tell them print out the non-annotated documents and then open up the other package where there's going to be those clear closing instructions. And for those of us like me, an old timer in the industry, this is basically replacing those lovely sticky notes that we used to have to put on in those little flags, and writing out a long instruction list when we were sending out mailaways. So that's some of the fun things that you can do with annotation. From here, we're going to go right into hyperlinking documents. This is something that's become pretty popular with a lot of offices. When they're sending out commitments or even deeds, different documents where they need to reference something on record. Maybe instead of sending, again, for the old timers on the phone like me, back in the day, we used to have to print out the package of covenants and restrictions in a subdivision and provide that to the new buyer. Well, nowadays, everyone is very conscious about using paper, and most people don't want it. If they're never going to read through most of it. But what you can do is you can send out documents with a hyperlink that if they click on it, it may take them out to where those covenants and restrictions are recorded. Or you may have documents that you want them, when they click on it, they get to the document because you've included that document also in whatever you've sent them. So when you're setting up these hyperlinks, I'm just going to go into this commitment. I have two that I've set up in here. So one, when you're setting up these hyperlinks, what you're basically doing is, if it's a document you want to reference, you can go ahead between brackets and put in the information. So in this particular one, I'm indicating if you clicked on this when you received the document, that it would then grab, in this case, this tax bill that was going to be included. Another way of setting up is when you're creating the hyperlink, you've got your requirement, you have your exception, whichever the case may be, and there where you want to reference what the document is that they can get out to the website and find, they can go ahead, click on, there's again an icon within your screen called Add a Hyperlink. And when you click on that hyperlink, you're able to set up the web page where that information is going to be and the name. So I'm going to go ahead. Now you see, this is never a good thing. Look at that. You know, this is what happens when we do these webinars. So hold one moment. Let me just close this out for a second and we'll just go right back in. All right, let me get back into my
Hey, Marcia,
SoftPro.
while you're getting back in, somebody asked if this was going to be all select, but I said no, but it is, some stuff is going to be version specific. So I just wanted to make sure I answered correctly.
Absolutely,
Okay, great.
absolutely. All right, let me get to my, hold 1 minute. Okay, gotta get back to my select.
I know
Oh,
you're showing it sometimes within one version, but if it applies to both versions, just let us know. And then, that way, because I'm not going to be able to tell them.
yeah, not a problem. I will do that. All right, I'll just wait 1 second. Let me get this back up. You can all see my cute puppy.
It's very cute.
All right, sorry about that. So when it comes to the hyperlink, when it comes to the annotation, it is definitely select. We do not have that functionality within our standard program. So let me get that file back open. Now, when you do create these hyperlinks within the documents, so you're going to take the documents, you're going to put them into the attachment screen. So I've got my commitment in here that I had the hyperlinks. In this case, I also had put in that tax document that I wanted. From the attachment screen, you would have, if you choose to have this program, and again, this is an addition to your select program and your sales, you can reach out to SoftPro or to your salesperson requesting some cost, what the cost of this program would be for you. But we would add to your select program this section here called hyperlink. So from there, you'll click on it. It will ask, what document are you hyperlinking? You will select the document. And then whether you are hyperlinking an actual attachment, such as that tax form, or because I wanted them to have access to be able to be pushed out to the site where those covenants and restrictions are, that's what I would set up within the document. Now, the biggest thing that you need to understand if you're utilizing the hyperlinking document, even though you know you can email right out of SoftPro, if you're trying to send out a hyperlink document, you're either going to have a Dropbox account set up that you're dropping it into the Dropbox, or if you're utilizing SoftPro Live, then through SoftPro Live, let me get into Live here, you will be able to publish that document out to the live site. So when they go into their order in Live, they would then be able to find that hyperlink document. And once they open up the document, they would then have access to clicking on what is in blue. And it would either open up to the document or it would take them out to the website where the information is. So that is hyperlinking. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get that PowerPoint back up for everybody. Hold on a moment. Let me get that screen back up here. We'll just switch over. All right. The next thing that we're going to talk about will be the patriot search. Actually, we can go right back to where we were on that. So I'm going to hold 1 moment, get my order back open. So here again, now the patriot search is definitely available in our standard program, whether you have standard, enterprise, or select. And regardless of how you may have Select Setup. So if anyone's never used the Patriot search, you would access your Patriot search right through 360. The Patriot search, the cost is 50 cents per file, and it does not matter how many names that you need to search by. And it's going to go ahead and it's going to pull the information that you have set up in your file. And if you end up having to update some names, a lender's name changes, some other party within your file changes, again, it is only the one-time charge of 50 cents. Now, what we've been able to do within the Select program, because of the automated features that you can now automate processes within the program, instead of someone necessarily coming in and having to do the submit or to do the update, you're now going to, I'm going to come back right to my PowerPoint here. You're now going to be able to create automated processes within the task. So as long as you have a task set up in your file to order a Patriot search or to update, you're going to be able to set up that automation process. Now, if you have any problems setting up the automated processes, please reach out to SoftPro. We're there to help you. Get some of these. Some of you may be very automated happy, as I say. They love automation and they just create one kind of automation after another within the program. But just know that you can set that up within the program. So I'm not sure if we have any questions regarding that.
No, we don't have any specifically.
All right. The next thing that we're going to talk about is Endorsement Helper. Here again, this would be an extra function that you can utilize. And I am going to, let me get back into, we're going to go into our other SoftPro. There we go. Whoops, wrong one here. Right there. This is what happens when you're jumping into multiple locations. All right. So if you do have the endorsement helper, again, you will find it up in your ribbon. This is also going to be specific to Select, whether it's installed on your server or if we're hosting it. There are many of you that are licensed in multiple states and may work with multiple underwriters. So when you're doing work in multiple states and multiple underwriters, each state may have a little different names of certain endorsements or what are required endorsements. So that's why we added this feature, because within this feature, you're able to indicate what type of product. So are we looking for endorsements that go with our owner's policies, our loan policies? And so once you indicate that, then it's going to look to, well, who is the underwriter in your order? And within the underwriter in your order, then it's going to be what is the state. Once those items are selected, it is then going to drop all available endorsements that you can utilize. Now, we're still going to build in the background. When you went through implementation, we set up for you, if you charged for any endorsements, we set those charges up for you. So when you pulled in an endorsement, it should have been pulling in whatever the fee is and the split. So even though you may decide to utilize this endorsement helper, when you select those endorsements, the endorsements will drop into your screen for those endorsements, and the fee will drop in there with it, along with the split. So now you can click on the plus and search for whatever endorsement you need. But know that, and like I said, I think this is going to probably be really beneficial for people that work in multiple states and multiple with multiple underwriters. So I'm not sure if anyone has any questions regarding that.
Actually, the question, we did get a couple questions about the cost, but I just kind of responded that let me know what company they're from. They're gonna, and I'll have their sales rep send that information.
Perfect, perfect. All right, so let's get back to my PowerPoint. All right, and so as you can see, that's how it's filtered, just kind of what we talked about, the title product, the underwriter, and the property state.
Hey, Marcia, can I interrupt you one time? Someone did
Sure.
put in a question with the endorsement helper. It says, does the user have to click the button first, or do they just pull in the endorsement from the lookup table and the magic happens?
It is magic, right? So if you're not sure which endorsements, then you're going to go to that. Let me get back in there. There we go. So if you're not sure what endorsements you want, then you're going to actually start right here at this button. And you're going to utilize that, and then it will drop the information that you select when that list pulls in here and you're selecting which endorsements you want. You'll go into the endorsement screen. I just happen to have it up right now, which it doesn't need to be, but you go into that screen and you will see. So let's say you said the environmental one, the plan unit one, and an adjustable rate one. Those three would then be dropped right into the screen. So I hope that answered your question. If not, just let us know.
I think we're good.
All right, beautiful. Okay. The next thing I want to do is talk about blacklist. Here again, this is a great new tool that we have. It's still it's only accessible within the Select program, and again, whether we host it or you have it on your server. The setup is initially done within SP admin, within the lookup table. So what will happen is if you have, this is going to basically be set up to be able to check buyers, sellers, and properties that the underwriters have made clear are uninsurable. So as as you get an order in your company and you find out that the underwriters are like, no way, and we're not insuring that, admin can go ahead and add the information into a lookup table. Then what happens is anytime that buyer's name goes into the contact list, the seller's name goes into the contact list, the property, anything that it could trigger, you know how, let me get back to our screen here. Hope no one's getting dizzy with me jumping around. So, and hopefully everyone can see, but at the bottom of your screen, there's eyes and errors and warnings box. So if you are utilizing, if you have this blacklist functionality set up, if you put in a name that is on that list, you're going to receive a warning on the bottom screen going, no, this isn't going to happen. So as this says, when the name is in there, warning will appear at the bottom. A note will appear in your note screen naming the uninsured person or property. So you'll know exactly which party, who's uninsurable. And then under the checklist, so where you've got your task set up, there will be a task created that says, hey, you've got a potential match. Now, until you clear that task, either saying, look, we checked into and actually no, that is not the same name, or that is not the same property. So until you clear that task, that warning and that note will stay there. Once you've confirmed that, oh, nope, this is not the same party, we can move forward, and you now show that that task has been completed, the warning will go away. So again, great feature to be able to utilize to make sure that we're not moving forward on closings and getting all the way to the table and then finding out, whoops, we can't do this. Underwriters aren't allowing us to do this.
Hey, Marcia, I have a couple questions that came through regarding the blacklist.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one was, if the name varies, will it still pick it up? Like, for example, if it's Maria Topple versus Maria Thomas Topple.
It very well may. And that's where we say, so the warning's going to come up, the note's going to come in, the task is going to be created. But when you do further investigation, you may determine that, okay, well, yeah, it may match this part, but no, this is not the same person. And then, so you're going to be able to then manually go in and show that that task is now completed. You did your due diligence, determine it is not the same person, so you can move forward, and you're going to then change that task to being completed. And then, of course, that warning will go away.
Okay, another question we had is, if the address has an extra space in it, will it still pick it up?
Great question. And I do not know the answer to that. So we will definitely follow up with an answer on that question, and we'll ask the people that are a lot brighter than I am with our company that are involved in developing these fabulous new systems.
Someone else asked a question. I'm assuming it's pertinent to this, but if not, maybe you can still answer. She said, she's not aware how to use a lookup table for a particular property. Is it common to load every property into a lookup table?
No, it's absolutely not. That is not something that typically does get loaded into lookup tables. The only reason utilizing the blacklist is there as a lookup table is because you're setting up that this could be a potential property that cannot be insured.
Okay.
So yeah, typically, like I said, you would not, let me go close this out. So let me go to admin, config. So yeah, your lookup tables are there to store information that you need over and over again. It's probably the best way I like to describe a lookup table. It's to keep us from having to rekey information. So again, in the case of you want to be flagged that this could be a potential property that can't be insured, that's why there would be a table set up with that information stored.
Okay, and then a follow-up to that, but by someone else, is who creates the lookup table? So, I mean, if you could just kind of explain how that works.
Yeah. So what would happen is whoever your admin, and I'm going to let me not be in this one. Hold on, because I'm going to go show you. There we go. All right. Let me get to admin. So whoever has admin rights in your office, they would be responsible. So right here, you've got blacklist for buyer seller and blacklist for property. So they would be the ones that would actually come in here and add these properties as needed. But it would be your admin or whoever, whoever has permission to get in to the configuration screens in your office.
Okay. We got a lot of questions on blacklist. I like this. Another one says, can a blacklist warning note be made into a pop-up note automatically so it's more apparent to them for an address?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because you can definitely automate when those notes are being. I love our pop-ups.
I know.
My favorite. So yeah, but absolutely, that kind of can be automated. So when that information's there, it automatically checks that box within the note section.
Okay. And then someone else also just asked, just so everyone knows, that is there a cost associated with it, or which I actually don't know the answer to. I assume there is, but maybe there is not. Marcia, you can answer that.
No,
And
I believe there is also, and again, Leslie, I think that will be one that
yeah.
we'll have to follow up with them on, getting with
Okay.
that department to let them know the pricing on it.
Okay, perfect. More questions if that's okay.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
someone says, where would we look at the lookup table? Like, where would it exist? Not the ones that like, I guess what I'm gonna paraphrase this, and if I'm wrong, to just put it in the questions here. But basically saying, where would they look to see the lookup table, not the created ones that an employee sees, like where they would see a blacklist lookup table.
Well, the thing is, I mean, they could, if they had admin rights, if they just wanted, when they went to open up they received a new order, if they wanted to be able to look at any properties that were already existing on that table, they could most likely be able to have a report created, or maybe a work list set up, or if they had admin rights, they would just be able to go into, the admin screen, to the lookup tables, to the blacklist, and pull it up. But the whole reason that we set this up the way we did is, instead of anyone having to do that, you open up a new file. You have your contract comes in, you've got your new order, you go in, you add your property address to your order, you go into your contact screen, you add your buyer's name and your seller's name. The minute you save that file and that property's there, if that property is on that blacklist, it's going to automatically pop up a warning when you go to try and save your file and get out of there. And then a
Okay, that
note
makes
will pop
sense.
up. So, I mean, could you keep running a report or looking at a work list? Well, you could, but I think you're going to find it's going to be much quicker. Well, let me just, okay, this new order came in, boom, I'm, setting up the new order. I put in the address, and all of a sudden I go to try to save the file, and that warning pops up that says, no way, this heads up, this may be a questionable property.
Perfect. Yep, that answered the question.
Beautiful. All right. All right, we are going to now move on to the calendar. So again, keep in mind, if you're on our standard or our enterprise program, or even select, there is within 360, and I know some people may not even be aware of this. Whoops, wrong, I got to go into my other SoftPro. Don't y'all feel sorry for me on my jumping around here? But in 360, there is something called SoftPro appointments. And SoftPro appointments, that's free, doesn't cost anybody anything. And it's in all of our versions. And that will create a appointment on your Outlook calendar, and you'll be able to send out an invite through your Outlook. So that is available to everyone. The calendar system, let me now get back in here. The calendar system that is within Select, this calendar is independent of any attaching to, like, an Outlook, a Google Calendar. This is just part of your SoftPro. So I know there are some offices that's fine. They just want a company calendar that they can set up all of their closings. Maybe they can set up when they've got staff closers on vacation or out at meetings, where they can show conference rooms that are being utilized for closings. So if that is what you're looking for from a calendar, then we do have, again, this calendar system that you will have access to. And setting up closings on the calendar can be a couple different ways. Anything that you set up in the file will automatically pull to the calendar. You can right-click and schedule a closing. You put in the file number, the information. You can even search for a property. So if I want to go ahead and, do a search for a property, I can go ahead and do that. I don't know if we got anything in here that I can grab that would make any kind of sense. We can try it anyway. Yep. And if it has already been scheduled within the file itself, you would get that warning box popping up saying, hey, this has already been scheduled. You know that. And, you're trying to schedule it at another time. And then you're going to have the ability, you can set up, I'm going to go into one that is already here. Hold on, let me get this one's 25th. Well, I don't think we want it at 12 a.m., so we're going to change this to 9. Or it's not going to change for me. All right, let's be paying that way. All right, let me get back to my calendar. So there's the 25th right there. Oh, hold on. We're going to update. There we go. All right. So when you're setting up a appointment, you not only have the ability to set up, the closing date, who the buyer, you can do buyer contact, seller contact. You can also set up separate times. You may have the seller coming in at one time and the buyer coming in another time, or maybe you have the buyers coming in at different times. Marketing source can pull in, and even closing notes. If the closing is going to be off-site, so your location would be, if you're doing it in the office in a specific closing room, and you would have those closing rooms set up. And if you're doing it off-site, you can check that box, put in the address where the closing needs to be, and even add travel time. So whoever is responsible for going out there to close it, it blocks their time on the calendar for them to be able to get to and from. Like I said, you can set up different, non-closing blocks. Can be someone's on vacation, someone's out in the office. What's also nice is you can kind of color coordinate. So you can set up different colors for different closers. So if I wanted to, update a close, when I'm looking at the calendar and I want it to be in different color systems, I can do that also. So lots of things that you're going to be able to do with this calendar. Let me just go to the screen. But I cannot stress enough, because one of the questions we always get about it is, okay, well, will it link to my Outlook calendar? Will it link to my Google calendar? And the answer right now is no. It is, again, independent within the Select program itself. And again, if you're in standard, there is that one in 360 for appointment settings. With the calendar also, again, you can sort by profile, by closer, by location. When you are setting up a closing, an appointment, there will be either a green circle next to the closer's name saying, great, closer's available. If you see a yellow exclamation mark, it's going to say that you're trying to set this up and it's not when the closer is typically working. And then a red X is, hey, that closer's already got something scheduled. So you're at least able, if someone else is doing the scheduling, to be able to see this right away, to save you some time. Any questions on that?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so one of them you kind of touched on, but I want to make sure because this is specific if they're using the calendar through 360, I guess like through appointments. Can that be, let's see, can the calendar through 360 when using standard be used with Google?
No, only Outlook.
Only Outlook. Okay.
Yep, it is only set with the Outlook component.
Okay. Next one is if I'm already in a file, can I just click calendar and have it know what file I'm scheduling for?
So let me get back. There is a place within your file. Actually, I'm going to go right to this one. So under your order information screen, well, wait, I'm going to jump here. On your express order entry screen page, you've got your closing date. If I put my closing date here and the time, that will push out to the calendar. If I wanted to put more detailed information, maybe it is that the closing's out of the office, or I want to add some notes so that they appear on that calendar, because maybe the person at the front desk is the one looking at the calendar, as people are coming in. Under your order information screen, at the very bottom of the screen, there's an area called custom fields. And if you go down in the custom fields, and again, depending on how many custom fields that you have, there is a whole area down there for setting up the information to pull into your calendar. And of course, where it's all the way down here, there we go. Closing location is here, closing notes, the duration of it, who requested it, off-site closing. So all of the same parameters that you would have if you just go right onto the calendar and set it are down here. Now, if you initially set it from the calendar side, that information will write back right into your file. So you can either start it in the order itself and have it right to the calendar, or you can start it in the calendar and have it right back into your order. So hopefully that answered that question. Leslie,
Yeah, there is quite a few. And if you've answered some of these, I'm still going to ask them just in case they're worded differently. So the next one is if you manually enter and then enter into select at another time, will the information populate the calendar twice?
No, because what's going to happen, if I'm understanding the question, is if I manually entered it on the calendar and I go and try and enter it again somewhere else, it's going to say, this has already been entered. Do you want to change it? So you will be prompted so that it's not showing up in the calendar in two different locations.
Okay, perfect. The next one is also if I change the settlement date after the closing appointment has been set on the calendar, will it prompt me that there's been a change and I need to resend the invites?
So that's going to be on if you're utilizing the appointment setter in 360. I believe, but Leslie, I would feel more comfortable if we could maybe follow up with that
Sure.
after we
Yeah,
confirm with smarter people.
yeah.
That there is an update. I do believe it does automatically update, but I want to
I
make sure that
believe you're correct,
giving it.
but we will confirm that.
Yep.
Okay, next one. We have quite a few on the calendar. We have several offices. Can the various offices be preloaded into the drop down for scheduling?
Absolutely, absolutely, because if you've got several offices, especially if they're set up with profiles, let me get back in. So in this calendar, you see right here, profile. So you can have your different offices in here for you to be able to set your closings per profile or
Okay,
per
great.
office. And again, or it may be that you've got one profile and under your locations, maybe your different office addresses. So there's a couple different ways that that can be set up depending on how we've got the program set up for you.
Okay. Somebody asked if this was an added feature or is there a cost associated with calendar?
The calendar itself, there is a cost. If you're utilizing the appointments through 360, there is no cost.
Okay, gotcha.
And again, as far as the cost, we'll just have to have sales follow up with that.
Okay, so for anyone that's asking, because a couple people have asked, if you either want to send me your contact information, I will have sales send you guys any information and costs associated with it. Or if you'd rather, you can reach out directly to your sales rep. Either way, I'm happy to reach out and make sure they send you what you guys need. So another one said, does the disbursement date flow to the calendar or do you have to manually add it?
The disbursement date would be something that you would add because the date it's looking at is the actual settlement date. Now, there could be a possibility that there may be a way to, now I was thinking to maybe be able to create that, but there's not a field right now set up within the calendar that has disbursement date. So it may be something that would be more added to like the note on the calendar. But yeah, right now it's just the closing date that would go
Okay.
on there.
And then somebody asked, I know you kind of touched on this, but if you wanted to maybe just quickly review it, someone asked how this would work with multiple offices.
So right, so that's going to be again what if you're set up either with a profile for your different offices. Get my bring this back up here. So if you've got different offices set up within the profiles, or if you've got maybe one profile and you just have the different locations set up, you can set up your calendar with scheduling closings in either location.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's all the questions right now. For those of you that sent me your contact information, I will go ahead and sort through it and have your sales reps reach out to you guys with the information you're requesting. So thanks.
All right, so now we're gonna talk about Power BI. Something that a lot of people were always wanting was, management was a dashboard availability. And this can only be utilized if you have the Select program installed on your own server, because the access is really through Power BI, not through actually the Select screens, but because it's on the same server, that's how they're going to talk to each other. And basically, you can pretty much set up what information you want on that dashboard. It kind of replaces having to run reports. So at any given point of time, as I have here on this slide, the dashboard will capture data from current year through current day, as well as data from previous years for comparison. It can be open files, closings in process, closed files, revenue, even what you've got scheduled on the calendar. So not necessarily on the calendar itself. You don't have to have the calendar program, but if you've got in your order itself that scheduled date of closing, on the 28th of February at 3 o'clock, you're going to be able to have the dashboard reflect that information. I just did a few screenshots of kind of what a dashboard may look like. This is very customizable. So if it is something that you think you would like, we're definitely going to put you in touch with the department that will sit down and build out this dashboard with you. So again, these are just a few examples of what your dashboard options may be. So I'm not sure if there was any questions on
I
that.
have one question and it says, do we program the Power BI reports / dashboard or does SoftPro?
We will definitely do the heavy lifting of getting it set up. Just like anything else when it comes to our program, there's going to be a lot of things that if you want to be able to do, add, tweak afterwards that you'll be able to do it. And if you are like, absolutely no, I don't know, I don't want to, I want SoftPro to do it all, we can always do that also. But initially getting it created and set up and accessed and all that, that's going to be all on SoftPro.
Okay. I happen to know the person that submitted that question is super smart, so it should be an easy process for him once we start it. Also, someone says, can the Power BI dashboard be profile specific?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. And then another one is the dashboard on a tab?
It's not on a tab within Select because that's not how you're going to access it. The Power BI is, you're going in to the internet. You know, you've got a login web, basically browser is how you're
Okay.
going to access it. Lost my words there for a minute.
No worries. Okay, that's all the questions for the Power BI.
All right, so we're going to finish up, and I hope that everyone has found this hopefully helpful. But I want to remind you that at any given time, you know, go in to softprocorp.com, which I'm going to actually do that right now. Hold on, let me get in here where my computer completely blows up on me. Oh, let's go in. And in here, of course, is how you can always reach us. But if you're looking, you know, new regulatory and compliance, and I'm going to let Leslie kind of talk about this a little bit more, but keep in mind, we have a blog out there that we encourage you subscribe to. This is a great way for you to always kind of be notified of changes that are happening in the industry. When it comes to maybe documents, some state documents have changed. And again, this is for our standard, our enterprise or select customers. But you can come in, and if you actually go into your softprocorp.com, go under support, and you will see for our standard and enterprise customers, you know, you'll select your underwriter, and it's going to walk you through how you can download documents and that you need, and then for our select also. So we've got these portals for both our select and our standard and enterprise customers. Leslie, did you want to say anything more regarding just compliance and the department that we have set up?
I just wanted to add a little bit here, and as I strongly encourage you guys to go in and set your preferences here, you are only going to get notified if we make a change to a underwriter specific form in the state that you requested, or if you do business in one state or 10 states and you say, hey, this is the state I do business in, here's my 4 underwriters. Anytime we make a change or upload new documents to the documents portal that affect your state or your underwriters, then you're going to get notified. You'll just get an email, and you can click on it. It'll take you right to it, and then you can decide whether you want to download them or not. It's really easy. I strongly urge you to do it. Otherwise, you're kind of at the mercy of whoever gets an email from us, and we don't always have the right contact person from when your accounts have been set up. So this is for all versions, and we are actually in the process of upgrading our documents portal, which would hopefully be available soon. But right now it still works great, but it's going to be even easier. You can also go in here at any point and view what documents are available for an underwriter or for a state. And just to kind of add on to what Marcia said is, you know, I run our compliance department, and we are primarily spending, you know, we spend a majority of our time on documents, whether they be federal, state, or county. And if you ever have an issue or you're having pushback from someone and say, hey, this isn't right, you know, just reach out and let us know. We always want to make sure you have the correct documents, but there's so many out there. So, you know, we do what we can, and we certainly get them updated as quickly as we can. You know, a prime example right now would be the new 2021, I'm sorry, 2020, yeah, I guess 2021 Alta forms. They're out there in the standard version of the Alta forms, but if you want underwriter specific, we are adding them to the docs portal as underwriters approve them and allow us to release them. So that's a great example of why you would want to go ahead and set this up. I'll give another push for the blog. I do most of the stuff for the blog. It is a great way to stay in touch. We do not post constantly. You're not going to get 5 emails a day, but it's going to let you know when we have any big changes in our industry, any new forms or regulatory issues, and then even new releases within SoftPro too. So if you haven't signed up for the blog, please go ahead and do so and kind of stay in the know. And the reason why we did that, honestly, is because when we send emails, they don't always go to the right people. We don't, we have a contact, and that contact, whether they forward them or not, is, beyond our control. So that's just my kind of spiel of kind of staying in the know. If you ever have any compliance related issues that you want to talk through or need some help figuring out, you're also welcome to reach out. I'm more than happy to help you with that as well. So with that, I know we're at the end of our time. I want to thank Marcia first and foremost. This was great, and thank you for all the information. I want to thank everyone. Yeah, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I'm sorry about the little audio blip we had, but well, it's the world we live in now, right? Technology. I will go ahead and follow up with sales, and anyone who sent me their information in the question area, I will go ahead and pass along to the correct sales rep, and they can send you the information you were requesting. But please don't hesitate to reach out directly to myself or to your sales rep. If you think of anything after this webinar, we're happy to assist in any way we can. And with that, we're going to sign off. I hope everyone has a great rest of your week, and our next topic email should be coming out sometime next week. Thanks so much. Thank you, Marcia.
Thank y'all. Bye.